There have been a good number of comments from various people who own all kinds of different bikes, folding, small wheel, big wheel, whatever. And so I've decided to do this video and give you some numbers. I actually took down the size of the chain wheel and the rear sprocket for each of these bikes, and even one group set without the bike, just the group set, to compare to what I have and also to compare them to each other. We know that the best of the Bromptons will now give you maximum 120 gear inches, whereas my own has 145. So let's see what these bikes are, and as usual, I am giving you links below. The first bike in comparison is going to be the Merida. I had never even heard of this brand before somebody suggested it. The second one is going to be a Trek, but this is going to be a Trek electric bike. So I was curious to see what a company that's known for road bikes would make out of an electric combination, like to combine a really fast setup with an electric propulsion system. Then I chose one of Campagnolo's more expensive group sets. This is something you can attach to a variety of frames, but when we are calculating gear inches, all we need to know is the sizing of the group set as well as the wheel. So that's the Campagnolo. Then a lot of people have commented about the Tern and the Birdy. I used to have a Birdy. I'm a fan. I think it's a great bike. And of course the Moulton, with being the king of all small wheel bikes. And frankly, the Moulton is still the king of all upright bikes because nobody has so far beaten them in a speed test. So if anybody has proof that somebody beat the Moulton, I'm willing to listen. But in any case, I thought this would be a pretty good distribution overall of what you could get on the market. So here we are with the Merida, and I picked the most expensive looking, the fastest looking bike they had on the website, which is the 9000. I saw some of the other lower ranking bikes. They have like a 4000 or something. It was really not expensive. It was less than $2,500 for one of those bikes, and you seem to be getting a lot. Very aerodynamic. The frame, the rim, everything is very aerodynamic. I'm not sure as to who makes this brand, but at least they gave us a pretty clear picture of what the specs are. It's 11 to 52 for this bike. Not sure about the weight, but didn't even check. So this comparison video is going to be exclusively about the gear inches, how many gear inches you can get. And here is the Trek, not a cheap bike, $13,000. My goodness. For $13,000, I could probably build 3 bikes that will beat everything in this video, if I may brag a little bit. My bike cost me somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 complete. But look, it's beautifully done. No question about it. Very smooth. Fresh out of the box, you get everything. You even get this nice readout. Looks nicer than the one I have, even though it's much less powerful. And just the fact that everything is integrated into a smooth, really elegant whole. I guess that's something that's worth 13 grand for some people. Not for me. I probably would not pay that much money for it. And I have never seen an electric road bike out on the road. At first I thought these were the sizes, but this is not. I don't think these are actual crank sizes. I think the chainring that's shown at 50 is the correct one. So I don't know if you can. You probably could install something bigger. I mean, the 62 that I have on my Brompton could be installed on any of these bikes, but the maximum here is a 50, And then the cassette is down to 11, same as the previous bike. And I'm giving you a link below to the pages of all of these bikes, just in case you want to verify the specs for yourself. A very heavy bike. Also, I was surprised to see that the electric motor is only a 250 watt. It looks nice and everything, but to pay this kind of money for such little power, and I understand maybe a lot of people don't want a heavier motor, then this is supposed to be just to help you a little bit on the uphills and when you accelerate. But you are adding a lot of weight anyway. So, although the weight is very, very light compared to how heavy it could be. In fact, I was shocked at seeing how lightweight the entire bicycle was. This bike, according to their claim, is under 30 pounds, the whole thing. I mean, if that's the case, then okay. Yeah, that's what you're paying for. And this is the group set. It's like carbon, titanium, really high-end Campagnolo. These are some of the best group sets you can get. And they didn't even publish any information as to how many teeth you have on this thing, so I had to look it up, and it came up to 50. Same as the one we saw on the track previously. Beautifully designed and very, very light, which matters. If you don't have an electric motor, then the weight, I guess, is going to be significant. For the sprocket, which is also beautifully made and I must say beautifully photographed, they actually go down to a 10, which makes a lot of difference. That's about the 10% gain in gear inches compared to the 11 tooth cassettes we saw previously. And of course, you could probably detach, maybe not the one on the electric track, but the one on the Merida. You could probably remove the one, the groups that it came with, and attach this one, or maybe some of the higher end models come with something just as good. And this is the Tern. Very cheap. It's half the price of the most expensive 12-speed Brompton. And you look at the cassette, it has a very large wheel in it, so it's also a good climber, but it's also built for speed. In fact, the configuration is quite intense. It's a 10 to 52 with a 20-inch wheel set. But there is a reason why it is so cheap. I would say you get excellent engineering, but the frame is no match to either the Birdy or the Moulton. Neither the build quality of it nor the design or the beauty of it. And people who own Terns are going to disagree, but that's just a fact. You cannot compare a mass-produced aluminum frame to hand-fabricated art. And here is an art piece from Birdy. This is a newer model from them. This is in Singapore dollars. It actually seems fitting for US dollars as well. I don't think it would be much less, maybe a little bit less, maybe 4,000. But I guess a bit more expensive because of all the componentry that they have put in here. Really fancy stuff, and it comes with a bullhorn handlebar. According to their claims, the numbers come out to 11 in the rear and 52 as the chain wheel. It comes in a number of color configurations as well, but all of the colors are subdued. And the rim size has been increased into 20-inch rims. So all of the small wheel bikes I'm looking at in this video are going to be 20-inch with the 20-inch wheel sets. The original wheel size for the Birdy was 18, and I'm really not crazy about people installing bigger wheels. but it sort of looks okay. I mean, the bullhorn handlebar and the bigger wheel, all of this suggests that this machine was built for speed with 11 to 52 as opposed to the Tern's 10 to 52. And that's a 10% advantage for the Tern. The color jobs, I mean the paint jobs, they look excellent. Not necessarily my choice. If I had to choose, I would probably go with the glossy black. That's just the most elegant version. And the bullhorn bar is definitely for aggressive riding. A very nice bike if you can afford it. But then with small wheel bikes, you are always going to get better gear inches if you have a hub gear. I did not include a hub gear bike in this comparison because that's difficult to calculate. That would throw everything off. So here is the Moulton. This is one of their more expensive bikes, the Speed. And this comes in several versions. But in this one, I found the same kind of setup that you saw on the Tern, but with a much better frame. There's no comparison between the Tern frame and this one, but you get the same 10 to 52. So I don't know how much an NS Speed costs. It's not going to be less than $6,000. It's going to be 2.5, 3 times as much as a Tern. And so here are the numbers that we just determined for all of these bikes. And I used the bike calculator at bikecalc.com. And I'm providing a link to that website just in case you want to check it out. For the tire thickness, I chose a very minimal 25 millimeter. So these numbers can be off to a very minimal degree. For the road bikes, I selected the biggest wheel size, 642 millimeters, and for the 20-inch wheels, I selected 508. And other than that, I entered the numbers as you see them here. And now I'm going to show you the gear inches that came out. Here are the numbers that came out at the bikecalc.com website. The one you see on the Campagnolo is the most impressive. It's very impressive. I would say since the track has electric support, it should be higher. I would have made the bike to do more like 140, given that the electric support is probably gonna run even when you're on the flats or on the downhills. But maybe there is some technology to stop that, and maybe the idea is that you use the electric propulsion system only when you accelerate or when you go on the uphills. So I don't know the details. And I would say that if all you can do is, if you don't have electric support, is all you have is your legs, then probably 120 is going to be as much as you will ever need. You look at the small wheel bikes, and then you see that a small wheel bicycle needs to have hub gear, because hub gears have much wider ranges than cassettes. So the only thing you can do with a small wheel bike to catch up with the big bikes is either you install a hub gear set or you add a custom insanely oversized chain wheel. So we haven't seen anything comparable to what I have, which is the 60-tooth. A 60-tooth, you can just count the percentages. Go from a 50 to a 60, that's a 20% increase. So your gear inches would be increased by 20%. So that Tern and the Moulton could probably go from 114, maybe they could go to 130, which I guess would be an enormous gain. The Birdy absolutely needs a 60-tooth chain wheel because it's just not doing that much. To pay that much money and all these fancy components and everything to get only 104 gear inches, it's really not cool. Now, Riese und Müller sell a Birdy with a roll-off hub. So if you want to go really fast and you don't mind adding an extra 2 or 3 pounds, you might be better off with that one. It would be a faster bike, and it would also be an excellent climber. The roll-off hub has the widest gear range. So this is my comparison. My own gear ranges are 148. So I would beat all of these bikes any day, anywhere. Maybe not on the uphills. I'm not sure, because I have 700, maybe 750 if I really overclock that far. So even on the uphills, I might beat them. Also keep in mind that the weight of the bike on flat ground is not within reason. It's not that significant. So you might be able, if you have the gear inches, to outspeed somebody who's 4 or 5 pounds lighter, who just doesn't have the gears. And on downhills, a heavier bike will actually be faster. So having a lot of gear inches is a good idea if you want to go fast, because on downhills you can make up for what you lost on the uphill. Okay, this is it for the current video. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you in the next one.